Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is YLAM here. In today's Discussion Tuesday, I want to talk a little bit about social media platforms because that seems to be a very interesting topic in the last couple of weeks, and I just want to give you some of my thoughts on it because this is something that I have gone through for the last year and a half, and I do have a lot of experience with this. So for anybody who's going through the same type of thought process, definitely listen to this video. But we all know that social media is actually very difficult. If you want to succeed in any platform, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, there is a lot that you need to learn, and there's also a lot you need to focus on. And what's happening is a lot of people are giving up, or they're questioning on why they actually want to be on that platform. And this is something that I can speak to because I've been through it a couple of times myself. This is not my first YouTube channel. In fact, this is my second YouTube channel. My first YouTube channel, believe it or not, actually has more subscribers than this YouTube channel right here, but I just wasn't passionate about it. I just wasn't as committed, and I abandoned that channel quite a while ago, and it continues to be abandoned even though it has more subscribers. There is definitely a couple of things that you really need to get squared away for yourself before you actually start. The first one is, what is your motivations? A lot of people will tell you that if your motivation is you want to be famous or you want to be well known, that's not good enough. For me, I actually don't agree with that. I think that has to be one of your primary motivations. I believe you actually have to have one of those as your primary objectives, but you need more. You actually have to have more than just that objective. One of which is, can you actually schedule your life? And are you willing to commit to a year of being a student? And that's what I want to talk about. The first year of that commitment, the first year that you're going to be a student. Can I wipe out 15 to 16 hours every day so that I can make this happen? 8 hours of which is going to be just putting food on the table. So you really can't quit your job or, make this your full-time commitment when you're starting out. You're still going to have to put food on the table for yourself or for your family. That time is gone, okay? You're just not going to get that back. And then you're going to have to commit at least another 5 hours per day, in my opinion, at least minimum 5 hours. 8 would be better, into what you're going to do for your social media platforms. Wanting to be famous and wanting to be able to make money off of your content, that's a given. That's something that you should already have, and that motivation should be deeply ingrained in you, and you should be perfectly honest with yourself and say, that's what I want, because you're going to need that. The second part of it is what's important, which is, are you going to sacrifice all of that time to learn? And that right there is the second topic that I really want to get into, which is learning for the first year. A lot of people look at the first year as the year of growth. That's really not true. The first year that you're going to be doing this is all about learning. It's actually you being the student again. You're going to be learning the entire process over again, and you have to be a student. You have to concentrate about learning. It's not about growth. It's not about community. It's not about money. It's all about learning. And when I mean learning, I mean everything. You have to think of yourself as an entrepreneur in which you're learning the entire process, and that is extremely difficult. One of the things that people make the biggest mistake on is that they only take advice from big YouTubers. They will give you good advice, but it's really advice for people that have already grown a great presence. For people that are just starting out, in which you're starting from ground zero and you have no presence, you're much better off listening to other people that are around your area. 1,000 subscribers, 5,000 subscribers, view counts that are kind of close to you, so you see what they're doing. Because what's going on in the background is that whatever search algorithm that's being powered by your social media platform, they're definitely judging smaller channels in a different way from bigger channels. So you can't really follow all of their advice. Another thing that I will tell you is that you have to continue to watch those videos. About 98% of the videos that you actually watch, you don't really gain any value from it because you kind of already know. They're just kind of rehashing something. But it's that 2% right there that you have to focus in on and you have to know about. That's really important. And that's something that I spend a lot of time on. You don't really see it, but I watch a lot of videos on growth, and much of that time is wasted because I'm not really learning anything new from it. But every once in a while, I will get a tidbit that really does help me out. A lot of it has to do with analytics and interpreting your analytics and then focusing in on those analytics. So those things are super important. When you're starting out, it's all about you being the student and recognizing that you're a student and then learning the entire process. It is really hot outside, so I had to move over to the shade, but there are two other items that I want to discuss before closing out this video. And the first one is, if you're seriously interested about growing your channel, whether it's in Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, it's all the same. You have to realize something, which is you are not the person that's deciding on what type of content to create. And this is something that a lot of people don't understand. You actually have to look at the analytics, and it shows you what content you have to create if you want to be successful. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but I can give you an example of that. When I was actually starting out and I was actually doing my first year of being a student, I didn't know what content was going to be successful. I had certain things that I wanted to do, and guess what? Those things weren't successful, so I stopped doing them, even though I loved doing them. Instead, what I did was I looked at the analytics and I said, oh, these videos are doing really good. I should continue to do those. And guess what? YouTube responded and my channel started growing. An example of this is Fuji Friday, which is a new segment that I'm really not doing a whole lot here. I'm just regurgitating news that's already out there. But guess what? YouTube wanted this type of content. It would promote this type of content, and my channel started growing because of that series, and I'm known in YouTube for the series. A lot of people think that, oh, you have to be known on YouTube for something, but what we're saying here is the algorithm has to know you for something, not the people, not the community itself, okay? The algorithm wants to know you for something, and for my channel, it's Fuji Friday. How the search algorithm arrived at that, I have no clue, but that's something that I knew because I was a student and I understood that I needed to learn the algorithm, the analytics, and this is what I needed to do to grow my channel. So I'm doing Fuji Fridays because honestly, I don't mind reading news about Fuji, but it's also because it's going to grow my channel. I know that through the analytics, and it's a series that I continue to do because I know if I do it, my channel will be successful. It's really learning about what YouTube wants to know you for. You don't actually get to decide that. So this is one of those things where, like, if you actually want to grow a presence on the platform, while you have 100% control on what type of content you create and you put out there, if you want to grow, YouTube and its algorithm, or Facebook and its algorithm, or Instagram and its algorithm has a big say in it, and you're going to have to look at those analytics and really draw upon that knowledge to figure out how you can be successful. And that's something a lot of people don't understand, and they fail to see the signs of it. I know I did for quite a while, but once I saw the signs of it, I realized what I was doing, and my channel started growing. So think about that really quickly. If you actually want to grow a presence on social media, you have to listen to your analytics, and you have to create content that analytics is telling you to create, which a lot of the times, at least for me, is not the content that really makes you passionate about, but I value the growth of my channel, so I'm going to make that type of content. So that's something that you really have to think about. Are you willing to make that compromise, which is you're going to have to make content that you aren't necessarily passionate about, but you know it'll make you grow. So the next topic that I want to talk to you about, and this is something that I didn't understand for quite a while, but once I understood it, it really does help me out, which is there are certain type of content that's really there to sustain your channel, and then there are types of content that's there actually to grow your channel. One example of this is that I do a lot of training videos, and a lot of these Fuji training videos, the reason why I do them is because they're actually a great source to get new subscribers into the channel, because they're really discovery videos that a lot of people are kind of searching for. And if they actually like the video, especially if they watch one or two of them in a row, you will probably get them as subscribers. I'm really not sure about Instagram because I really didn't dive too deeply into that, but I know for YouTube and Facebook, this is really the way it is. But once you actually get the subscriber onto your channel, you actually need a different type of content to keep them on your channel and to make sure that your channel is actually relevant. These are things that I didn't really understand at the very beginning, but once I started understanding them, I started thinking about content in a different way. So I started thinking about what type of content I needed for growth and what type of content I needed for sustainability. Now, this is just a general rule for me. There's definitely channels out there that don't really focus in on one or the other, and they do perfectly fine. There's definitely different ways to do it, but for me, this strategy works really well for me. I think this is a great strategy if you want consistent, steady growth, and you also want a really strong community. So for whatever content you like to create, definitely think about that approach, because it has helped me out greatly when I'm planning out my videos and what type of series that I want to do for my channel. So one more thing before ending this video. I know I already said this before, but this one's pretty important, and that is you should plan for every scenario. A lot of us, when we actually produce a video and we pour our hearts and soul into this content and we really hope that it does really well and it doesn't, we don't really plan for it actually falling flat on its face. And that is something that's really important for you to actually think about, because a lot of times when you produce this content, especially if you're trying new content, it's going to fall flat on its face, and you're going to have to prepare for when that actually happens. So being prepared for every scenario is super important. It's going to help you not get get demotivated or not get depressed when something doesn't work out, because it's going to happen when you're creating all of this content, especially when you're trying to grow or when you're trying to branch out into new content. I try new content all the time on this channel, and a lot of times it doesn't do well, but it doesn't mean I don't learn from it. It doesn't mean I actually stop trying. It does actually hurt your profile or your channel when you actually do something like that, because the algorithm immediately reacts when your video doesn't actually do well. That's one of the annoying things about all of these social media platforms, because their algorithms are so responsive and they actually react very quickly. You have to be very careful when you're trying new content and only try a little bit at a time. You don't really want to go wholesale into all new content, because that really could dramatically hurt your channel. Now, the inverse can also be true. If you actually had some sort of content that goes viral and it gets millions of views, do you actually have a plan for something like that? If, for example, one of my videos gets millions of views, I actually have a framework that I'm going to go to. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take 48 hours off work, and I'm going to produce at least 2 extra pieces of content that's related to the video that went viral. I know I'm already going to do this. I know I'm already going to take time off, and I'm also going to read through all of the comments, and I'm going to respond back to all of the ones that are positive, and I'm going to remove all of the ones that are negative. That's something that I've already planned for. I don't think it's ever going to happen, because my type of content doesn't really go viral, because I just don't produce that type of content, but I already have something in mind if something like that were to happen. And pretty muchly for any video that I do, no matter if it does well or if it doesn't do well, I kind of have a plan in mind of what I can learn from it and what I can do to improve. So that's something that's really important when you're actually trying to make it on a social media platform, which is plan for all scenarios, whether it's good, bad, indifferent, or if it's wildly successful. There should be something that you can learn from every type of content, and you should see it as a positive. When a video doesn't do well or you're not seeing yourself grow, you get demotivated, and that's because the only plan that you have is wild success, which isn't going to happen all of the time on any social media platform. So you got to really plan for those dips, and you got to keep yourself motivated so you can keep going. So that's really the last thing that I want to talk about. I know this video is getting a little bit long, but hopefully this discussion has helped somebody out. Please let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next video.